Game Up. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. Comes in 4 great flavors: fruit punch, lemon, lime, orange, and grape.
Yeah, only 110 calories, guys. Low carb. Get yourself some Game Up. UFC 312 this past weekend. Wasn't the greatest card in the world name-wise. I know, Chevy, you didn't even end up watching this one. I mean, I think that says a lot. We could talk about that. When's the last time you haven't watched a UFC pay-per-view?
By choice?
Yeah.
I could not tell you the last time. I can't remember a time where I was just like, no, I can't be bothered. I did try to find a means of watching it without paying for it for $80 for about 5 minutes and struggled and said, oh, streamers don't want to watch this either. So
I watched a little bit of it. You know, we'll go over the card just a little bit. Jake Matthews was victorious in the first fight. He looks super big. I'm just going to throw some opponents out here for potential. Some of these guys too. Carlos Prates, he's one of those guys.
Yeah,
Prates. He's killing people lately. I thought that might be a good fight for more Carlos. It gives Jake, you know, a chance to do something with somebody who's got some buzz and making noise. But for me, Carlos is the guy who's probably the star on the way up. And, you know, Jake Matthews could be a guy that, you know, he could get some work with.
Yeah, it's a good step up. Prates is definitely the A side for sure.
Style Bender and Kelvin Gastelum going in the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that fight was it was definitely the best middleweight of all fight that I can ever remember. Well deserved. I mean, I did see that Izzy was sitting there with Poatan too, which was cool to see when he was accepting. I did see he FaceTimed Gastelum afterwards, and, you know, they shared a few words. I like that these guys are all, you know, getting towards the end of their careers and they're being cool with one another. Yeah, so a lot of respect earned between those guys in the cage.
It's just, this wasn't, like I said, a memorable card. I'm going to ask you this question. I saw this at a press conference. I guess there's some debate online. Greatest UFC co-main event of all time. Here are your 3 candidates. I know you're going to know 2 of them, obviously. Kelvin and Stylebender, Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald, 2, and the other one, Jacek and Weili Zhang, 1.
Ooh, that's really, really hard. Yeah, it's really hard. Man, the Stylebender, nostalgia-wise, I gotta go with Lawler, McDonald for sure. Right. But like actually fight-wise, I think I'd pick the Joanna and Lee one. You know, like that fight was like set a new standard for women's MMA.
I agree. We had a draw between Jimmy Krute and Rodolfo Bellato. I got nothing we're going to say about that. The feed I had, actually, I watched the next day. It actually cut out the last round, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Tallison Teixeira, I think he might actually have it a little bit different, but it looks like over Teixeira. TKO'd in the first few seconds Justin Tafa. I don't know if you saw this, but
35 seconds,
35, just came out, put it on him. It's impressive. I like to see that at a heavyweight. I don't think this guy has gotten out of the first round yet in his very, very early career. I don't have an opponent for this guy yet because to me, it's like if he's doing that, you take it slow with him. I would say one of the bright spots coming out of this, because neither one of us picked him. We figured, okay, the experience of Tafa would get him through. It wasn't. Tallison just came out there, no fear at all, put it on him. Tafa was a little upset with the official saying, give me a chance. But, you know, when you see a guy fall like that.
I think Tafa got cut afterwards as well.
Well, I guess so.
I mean,
see why I was upset.
Had a feeling that was coming, You know, I'm hoping. So, heavyweight division, very, very weak. Obviously, right now, not a lot going on. So I'm hoping we don't get the Robelis Despain situation where the guy comes in and he's finishing every fight in the first 10 seconds of every of the first round, and then he finally gets against some quality opponents. You know, no disrespect to Justin Tafa, but I mean top level guys, and then he just can't hang. So hopefully this guy could be some fresh blood.
I hope they give him an opponent next. They could at least get him to round 2, round 3, and we'll see what this guy's got. Co-main event,
maybe a Ty Tuivasa or something, or a Black Beast.
That could be fun.
Or Sergey, because Sergey's kind of fallen down the pecking order too. But Ty, I don't know if you saw Ty this weekend. He's got to get back in the gym. He looks like he's about 450 pounds right now.
Co-main event, Weili Zhang, Tatiana Suarez. Weili Zhang, put it on her. What I was thinking, you know, that she was going to just be more well-rounded and even more impressive than I realized once we got out of round 1. Round 1, it looked a little bit like Tatiana Suarez when she put her down. I'm like, okay, we got a fight here. But even in round 1, if you watch it, she wasn't really able to do a lot with Weili. It was more just about control. Once Weili got control, once Weili was able to strike, Weili could take her down to, as we saw.
That's even really impressive, by the way.
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez, she has a great wrestling pedigree. So good that I think it's able to pull her past a lot of people. But Weili Zhang is one of the best MMA fighters, period, and like in the women's division, pound for pound, she's great. I know they talked a little bit about, Valentina Shevchenko afterwards, which would be a step up in weight class for Weili, and I know I like the fight because I believe this was Weili's third or fourth defense, and I know it's not like she's cleared out, but I'm cool with it because more for Valentina, because I think Valentina, this is what I'd like to see personally. She's just won the title back from Grasso. Before that, she had cleared out the division many a times over. Weili is a great fight, great buzz for her. I'd like to see Valentina, if she beats Weili, I'd like to see her go on and then fight for the bantamweight title and then retire after that if she chooses to. Because I think she's got a possibility to me of being like the all-time great women's MMA.
She's definitely in the talk for sure. I mean, she has those 2 losses to Rose, but where she ended up losing the belt. But other than that, I mean, she has just dominated the division for sure. So, and then Valentina, that nearing the end of her career. I mean, Zhang's near the end of her career too. She has looked like a world beater, but she's not young either. So, get the good money fight, big super fight going, get some, the women's divisions are just kind of, they're slim like the heavyweight division is right now. So that would stir up some buzz. Yeah, that would stir up some buzz, squeeze as much juice out of that as you can.
All right, in the end, DDP, too much for Sean Strickland. I think much like we thought, he's just that much more of an improved fighter. And I think people talked about this online. A few people took Sean for a task for this, but Sean says, he is that guy that's going to go out there and die on his sword. Not really the case. He ends up just doing very technical performances. But at the end, you know what? Sean Strickland is a great fighter, but DDP has evolved, and he's got a really unorthodox style.
Yeah,
but he
tough
makes
style
it work.
to train for.
Yeah, and I think for him, and they're talking Khamzat Chimaev next. Let's do it. Let's find out. Chimaev has, just got that impressive win over Whitaker. Let's find out. Let's see how good this guy is. I heard Dean Thomas made an interesting point. He doesn't think he'll beat DDP because he thinks Chimaev is one of the all-time great sprinters. Round 1, he's almost impossible. But DDP is going to get him to stretch out. And once we even get to round 3, round 4, and I don't think he's ever had a 5-round fight. I think it's all been 3-round fights.
Dricus is very durable, as we saw with Darren Till. And he can wrestle. He's very big. And that's exactly how I see the fight going too. If he takes Chimaev into past the second round, really, I think he wins the last 3 rounds pretty easily if he doesn't finish him, because he's also very strong and powerful, even though he's very awkward, tough to deal with. But I don't know if you saw this, but speaking about the Sean Strickland, talking all this trash about how he's going to go out in his shield and everything, his coach, Eric Nixick, was on Ariel's show and mentioned something about how Sean needs to, he kind of called him out. He said he needs to figure out what he wants to do. Like if he just wants to be a fun fighter and whatever, and go for money fights, that's fine. He's like, but I want to train world champions. So, he needs to sort it out. He wants to talk all one way before the fight and then go in and put on a performance like that. He called it uninspiring. So, if your coach is saying that about you, maybe he's trying to light a fire under him or something. But I don't really know what else Sean could do in that situation. The way I heard the fight, I mean, he's not a knockout guy. He's not going to knock Dricus out, but what he's doing wasn't working. Just kind of seems to have the one style of fighting, and if that doesn't work, it's pretty much over for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe change the scenery. Maybe go to like heavyweight, big boys though.
Some kind of evolution is needed for him for sure.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.